Hi, and welcome to Total Recall. I'm Tom Scioli, author of Jack Kirby, The Epic Life of the King of Comics, in stores now. And you can follow me at Tom Scioli, one word, on Twitter, or on Instagram at Tom_Scioli.
I'm Matt Zeoli. You can follow me on Instagram at cinema_tune. And we also have a place where you can check the show out.
Yeah, you can follow the Total Recall Show on Twitter at Total Recall Show, one word, or on Instagram at Total_Recall_Show. So today we figured, we just did an episode about the Christopher Reeve Superman, and then we did like an episode about Star Wars a couple weeks ago. So it's like, it got us thinking, what do those movies have in common? They have these like wonderful John Williams scores. So we thought maybe we'll take a minute and just kind of, talk about
how awesome he is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, John Williams is one of the guys that got me into music in general, really. Mm-hmm. When I was little, just hearing the music, it was triggering something in my brain, and I was latching onto. Mm-hmm. I'm like, this is so awesome. And I was just trying to figure out what it was. It was just big melody, mm-hmm. His scores, he writes big hooks, mm-hmm. Themes that you remember and can latch on to.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up because with Star Wars, that was kind of my introduction to the idea that a movie is a thing made by people, because when I was a kid, Star Wars movies were still coming out, Return of the Jedi hadn't come out yet and stuff. So there'd be a lot of on TV, there'd be a lot of TV specials where it's behind the scenes of Star Wars, and you'd see oh, okay, there's puppets involved, there's special effects teams, there's you got a sense of, and before that I didn't really have any sense of movies other than just you watch a movie, and you're right, John Williams, there'd be scenes where they'd show you oh, here's John Williams in the studio, he's got the orchestra, and so that's my introduction to the idea of a symphony, a conductor, that the music you hear in a movie.
Honestly, yeah.
Is there's people playing instruments, and they're watching the movie up on a screen and playing along with it.
First time probably would have seen a symphony would be in these kind of making of videos that you're talking about.
Yeah.
For real. And I would want some of the first albums I ever got, I asked my parents for the Jurassic Park soundtrack. Mm-hmm. I got it in my Easter basket when I think whatever 93 I got the Jurassic Park soundtrack, because I'm na, na, na. I would just sing that nonstop.
I mean when I was a kid, VCRs existed. They were prohibitively expensive, and then the idea of owning a movie was also prohibitively expensive. So it's you would get the movie soundtrack.
Yes.
And so we'd have, and I think when I was a kid, it was the Empire Strikes Back soundtrack. So we had that, and so it's this beautiful record with a big picture of Darth Vader, and then you open it up, and there's all these pictures from the movie, and then you play, that's how you got to that, and playing with your Star Wars toys was how you got to experience Star Wars if it wasn't currently playing on broadcast TV, or if you didn't just come from the movie theater.
My mom and dad they love my mom loves music a lot, so she had she gave me some of her records, and one of them is the Temple of Doom soundtrack.
Oh, cool.
So just listening to these the scores, it's he's so good at you just listening to the theme from Superman. It's you're kind of experiencing, you get to experience the movie, and it's nostalgic every time you hear it.
Richard Donner talks about when he heard John Williams' theme song, that that da, 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 he said the orchestra said Superman, the music.
Yes,
it said Superman, and he just stopped when John Williams was having the orchestra perform this for him, and he just kind of fell out of his chair and stopped everything. I can't believe, and it is amazing. You think it's you hear the word Superman being played by some trumpets and
yeah, and just that when you hear the main theme, it's just a little build up before.
Yeah, the build up's great, and it does conjure up image. Like he really does take these like musical elements, and you do like, you know, you kind of musically you are hearing like Superman running, you know, to like the phone booth,
and like his scores are like the first time I would notice that like, okay, the music can say something about a character or like add to or enhance, like, you know, stand in for a character. Like Jaws.
They call it a Wagnerian music or Wagnerian soundtrack or Wagnerian themes, because like with Wagner, it was like you'd every character would have their own theme song, you know, you know, and so then, you know, the character would appear for the first time and you'd hear that theme, and then maybe a scene later on, two characters are interact and both of their themes are playing like point and counterpoint. So that was kind of like the beginning of that idea, and so yeah, like you know, Williams does that. It's like, you know, very classical approach, and it's like you think of like Star Wars, like Princess Leia's theme, like when she shows up, you hear that, and then of course there's like you know, like Darth Vader's theme in Empire Strikes Back.
Oh my gosh, and like the and like, you know, the Jaws riff, stand in for the shark, and like he's so good at like, you know, tying into the character. When I hear like the Ewok music, I can't like help but smile. Or
yeah, he captures the character. You're right, and it is hooks. It's like really. I mean, some of them can be like pretty complicated, but most of them are extremely simple. It's really hard to make something that's like simple, but you've still never heard it before. And like the Jaws thing was like, and like
two notes.
Any kid who's been near a piano,
you know, like you tried to play the Jaws
yeah, you just get as low as you can on the register, and
brilliant, just brilliant. And like the and we go back to hooks, like that's why it's so satisfying. Just like that's the, you know, the chorus, like and they're easily hummable and they still like affect you.
He's got like a voice. Like John Williams has a style, and it's recognizable, and there's like a similarity to his. I mean, not all, like he does some themes that don't fit that John Williams model, but it is funny that like you have you know, the Superman theme, the Star Wars theme, the Indiana Jones theme, and they're all in like the same neighborhood, but still like so different. Yeah,
that and yeah, you're right. The same neighborhood. That's why, like, if you would play him in a lineup, most people would probably be able to pick his jams out of a lineup.
Yeah, and like I know for me, a lot of times, like in my head, or like I'll hear the music, one of the themes, or I'll be humming, and it'll turn into another. So like you'll start doing the Superman theme, but then it turns into the Indiana Jones theme, and then you're doing Star Wars.
When I was little, I would, you know, be playing on our like slide or whatever and singing the Superman, or trying to sing Star Wars but sing Superman, or like vice versa. So that is you're so spot on with it.
The wires get crossed. You know, his stuff, it's like very classical, and like the Darth Vader theme, it sounds like, I think it's Swan Lake. There's like a theme song, and it was like used for Dracula. It's like,
wow. Okay, yeah, there.
It was like the theme to like the Bela Lugosi Dracula, and then it was the theme to the Mummy, the Boris Karloff Mummy, and it's like, yeah, like he does like a little riff on that for Darth Vader. I couldn't hum the Darth Vader theme because you know, we don't have the rights to it, but I was able to hum the public domain Swan Lake.
Looking back through his greatest hits are the greatest hits.
They are, yeah.
But like he's got some deep cuts that like I still think people should revisit if they haven't. And I love the theme from Catch Me If You Can, the Leo DiCaprio one. Like, you know, it's jazzy, it's minimal, and it's pretty breezy. You know, it's probably like a summertime, like night summertime listen. And another one of my top 5 favorite John Williams themes. He did the theme for the NBC News.
Okay.
it's called The Mission. I think he wrote it in the 80s, but like if you watch NBC News, that's John Williams.
Okay.
And that's like one of my John Williams deep cuts.
Okay, I'll have to keep my ear, because like I don't remember the Catch Me If You Can. I mean, I have a vague recollection of it, like involving some like xylophone or something.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's interesting choices on the instruments too. But yeah, like
and like a '60s feel, like kind of like Mad Men or something.
Yes. That's perfect description. And yeah, so check out the Catch Me If You Can soundtrack.
It like I guess Spielberg got to him first. Like Jaws was like the big, right?
Yeah,
like, do I have that right? Like
I believe so.
So it was Jaws, and then Spielberg recommended Williams to Lucas, and Lucas used him for Star Wars. And it was like an interesting choice, because back then, if you made a sci-fi movie, it would be like electronic instruments. You think of like Logan's Run or something. It would be like, like a lot of electronica and stuff. So like the idea of like, I'm doing this sci-fi movie, but I want a like classical, like I want, trumpets and timpani and, but then it's like, okay, like George Lucas wasn't making a science fiction movie. He was making an adventure movie. He was making a like classic, like 1930s kind of movie. Like it was it was an unconventional choice, but it was the perfect fit.
Thinking back, yeah, that's the perfect description too. Like, the easier route would be good to go with like those sound effects like you're talking about, but like
a theremin or something,
Yeah. I'm like
yeah. Imagine Star Wars with that,
Talk about it would even but like Williams' score adds like gives it like more credibility.
Yeah, it does. It gives it like some depth, some resonance. Like I think a lot of like that mythic, feel that Star Wars has is there in the musical soundtrack. Even like again, like all the different characters. Like I think of like the Jawas.
Oh my god!
And how that's like a different character. It's a little like bouncy and whimsical. And
yeah, you don't need to see it. You can just hear it, and you're like, okay, we've got two Jawas.
Yeah, and we can't hum this stuff anyway for
yeah,
rights reasons. We don't want this like
to become a lost episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the Home Alone and the Iger Sanction. That's a deep cut.
I don't know that one.
That's a Clint Eastwood mountain climbing movie, and Williams did the soundtrack to that.
What year is this?
That's in the 70s.
70s, okay.
And he has some interesting instruments in that one. So check out the Iger Sanction soundtrack. Mm-hmm. And we can't play it here.
Right? Yeah, I like these deep cuts. Yeah, and like I don't remember the Home Alone theme either, but I gotta.
The Home Alone, Iger Sanction, and the Nightly News.
Okay.
Those are like some John Williams deep catalog cuts.
And he, like J.J. Abrams, with the Star Wars, he's like such like a fan and an archivist and a curator. He, like for Rise of Skywalker, he kind of like, I don't like. Anthony Daniels has been, such a big part of the series and like never got fully highlighted. So he Rise of Skywalker, C-3PO gets like the biggest role he's ever gotten. Like he and it is kind of a love letter to C-3PO, who is sort of famously like a lot of people's least favorite Star Wars characters. But it's like, no, it's like he has his role to play. Like, of course he's not as cuddly and fun as R2-D2, but he's got an important role to play. And like, just like our appreciation of like Anthony Daniels and what he brings, JJ, I think, smartly decided to highlight that. And similarly, he did that with John Williams. Like he kind of found a role for John. He gave John Williams like a little cameo in Rise of Skywalker. He gets to be like the bartender at a cantina.
Oh, that's awesome. I got to look for him next time. Yeah, that's awesome. Imagine being like Spielberg and, you're making a flick. It's like, I've got John Williams is going to be scoring this movie. He's on speed dial.
Yeah. Yeah, like, Indiana Jones is another great one. And you're talking about Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom being like an early record that you listen to. It's like that's interesting to me when he, does like the next installment of the series and then builds that theme even further outwards. So like, Star Wars to Empire Strikes Back and because that's where like that Imperial March, the Darth Vader theme sort of comes in that second one, and you can't imagine Star Wars without that. But it was it was the
still
second
one movie away.
It was one movie away, and then Indiana Jones. It's like you got that great Indiana Jones theme, but then that Temple of Doom stuff is kind of ingrained in my head too.
Yes, it is. I want to hum it now too,
right,
really badly.
Yeah. Do 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 do. Yeah, like there's that moment in like there's like some danger, and then there's like a moment in like the story where like Indiana Jones is like being like hypnotized and he's like evil, but then it turns around, and then now like he's back and he's gonna help everybody out and save the day, and then the theme kind of reflects that.
I love it, and
do 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 I think
oh my god,
yeah,
Temple of Doom.
I think the Temple of Doom theme, I think like that's more ingrained in my head than the Indiana Jones theme, because I used to like play the hell out of the
NES game.
No, not the NES one. The arcade Temple of Doom game, the arcade version. I loved that game, and I got to a point where I could make my quarter last a long time.
Oh, that's great. You probably heard that theme a lot.
Yeah, and the mine car chase. It's like. Like I got that, So then whenever I haven't watched that movie nearly as many times as I played the game. So like when I do watch the movie, it's like, oh yeah, there's that theme again.
When we sing the themes, could we like blur or like
blur the sound waves? Yeah. I guess similar to like Lucas and Spielberg, it's kind of like when Tim Burton's Batman came along, like George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, like their work kind of started to seem like old hat a little bit. Like the Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade came out and it was good, but it came out the same year as Batman, but it still felt like, okay, this is from the previous era. Here's the future. This is the present. This is the future. Is this and kind of like action cinema started taking on like the Tim Burton Batman kind of
its influence went down,
and I think also like the
like a changing of the guard,
like this is this is the new generation. But I think it also happened with the music too, where it was like the Danny Elfman became like the new John Williams. Like suddenly he was the guy who was doing the theme song to like everything, and so then you have like Dick Tracy, and it's like, okay, let's get the guy from Batman to do Dick Tracy, and so and Danny Elfman stuff, it was different, had a different character to it, but it felt more of that era. But John Williams continued. I mean,
to this day,
to this day, doing all kinds of great work. So he just he hung in there through that like rough period, and then
that is such a great point about the Danny Elfman Batman score, because then you can start seeing it's like
everybody Hollywood is such like there's so much copycatting going on. It's like all of a sudden everybody had Danny Elfman or somebody doing a Danny Elfman imitation.
Yeah, like the and it's so distinct too. You're like, is that Danny Elfman or is it like a Danny Elfman imitator? It's like I love it. I love the Batman, his score for Batman. And Tim Burton, when we were doing the Batman episode, he really fought really hard to get Danny Elfman.
Yeah, because he was not again. They probably were like, oh no, let's get John Williams to do the theme to Batman.
I wonder what his theme would have been.
It would have been interesting. I'd like to hear it.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll bring him in for some future. Maybe the Robert Pattinson Batman. They'll bring in John Williams for it. I mean, I feel like John Williams kind of reclaimed the crown when Jurassic Park came out. It was kind of like, hey, I'm still here, and I'm not done yet.
I love the Jurassic Park. That's one of my favorites, and I'm like, okay, I'm kind of obsessed with his melodies. I was like, okay, immediately I was like, Mom and Dad, can I have the Jurassic Park soundtrack?
Yeah, I was in the school band, when Jurassic Park came out, and I played the Jurassic Park theme on the trumpet. Nice. Played the theme on the trumpet. I always would play it too fast, because when you try to play that theme, I feel like you can't help but speed it up because it's very majestic and very slow that like a kid can't help but because it's like I play da 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 da, but it's not that it's da 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 da. Like imagine trying to play that as a kid and
that is the right tempo. The Home Alone theme, great theme. It's like I can't think of Christmas time without like the Home Alone theme. So when the snow starts falling, throw that baby on.
Yeah, I mean when I think of Home Alone, like again, I'm not for whatever reason I'm not recalling what the theme is. Like I just hear all those other songs he's listening to, like the Cool Jerk. Or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I'm remembering those, but I'm not...
yeah. The from Home Alone 2, he's like, "We know guys can really do the Cool Jerk."
Was the Cool Jerk Home Alone 2?
I thought it was.
Okay.
Maybe it was.
I think it was in the first one too.
It was, because in the second one he's like, maybe it's.
Do the Cool Jerk.
He's like, "Get out of here, you nosy little pervert! I'm gonna slap you silly." And then he plays that back for like Tim Curry. Like,
yeah.
The another deep cut is the Super Bowl terrorist movie from the 70s with Bruce Dern and Robert Shaw. John Frankenheimer's Black Sunday. Interesting score too. When John Williams gets to go, because like a lot of his scores are kind of like, you know, like uplifting kind of.
Right. Yeah. Kind of like stirring, kind of adventurous.
Adventurous. Yeah. Great description of like adventurous style. When he goes dark, he can like go dark. So it's kind of like the Black Sunday score is a little it's an interesting one. And the Iger Sanction that has more like different kinds of instruments you don't normally hear from John Williams, and so that's another deep cut.
I mean, I guess like it was early enough that he hadn't kind of like settled into his comfort zone.
Yeah.
You know, so you know probably was trying some different things. I've never seen that movie. I've never seen Black Sunday. Like I heard about it, never checked it out yet.
The Steelers are playing.
Okay. Yeah. What am I doing? I'm gonna go watch that right after this. I'd imagine like probably cut from like a similar cloth to Jaws, you know, something a little like more moody and scary and
like that Jaws theme so good. And then like whenever Quentin Brody and Hooper are on the boat, it can like all of a sudden he can just switch to like adventure.
Yeah,
like,
it becomes like nautical and adventurous and exciting. Yeah, it is
so good.
It is really interesting seeing like him take these themes and kind of like change their mood, like, as required by the story.
I mean, like Williams' worship, I'm here for it.
Yeah. I mean, what a body of work, and yes, still continuing to this day. You know,
what a treat.
You know, started before we were born, and you know, continues to this day.
We love him. Keep up the good work, John.
Thanks for joining us for this appreciation of John Williams. You've been watching Total Recall. I'm Tom Scioli, author of Jack Kirby: The Epic Life of the King of Comics, available in stores and online. You can follow me at Tom Scioli, one word, on Twitter, or you can follow me on Instagram at Tom_Scioli.
I'm Matt Zeoli. You can follow me on Instagram at cinema_2. And we also have some places where you can check the show out online.
You can follow the show on Twitter at Total Recall Show, one word, or you can follow the show on Instagram at Total_Recall_Show. Thanks for joining us. Maybe if we can get the rights, we can play out to the.
Imagine you're hearing the NBC Nightly News theme.
Oh, I was thinking of the end of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, where they're playing the theme and you see them riding off into the sunset on horses.
So imagine us riding.
Well, you know, this is like perfect widescreen right behind us. I'm gonna play. The actual like last part of Indiana Jones.
So while that's playing, imagine the theme.
Yeah.
It sounds great.
Yeah, it does.
Sounds really good.
Okay, we'll see you next time.
Have a good one.